Okay, so hello everybody. Today we're going to do a video on the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever, in my opinion, okay? So everyone's going to differ with this. Everyone has their episode they think is the scariest, and this is what I think is the scariest. It's the episode that I would say definitely scarred me the most. And I've been watching the show for a long time, ever since 2005, when season 1, episode 1, Rose aired. So I've been watching it ever since then, and there's been a lot of scary episodes along the way, but I think this one takes it takes the crown, I think. And I think a lot of people agree with me with this. Some people might not. I feel like it depends, when you watch the episode, but still. I do want to quickly say before we get into this video, thank you so much for all the love on the other bonus videos. Aiden did a video on the 10th Doctor's episodes, the tier list video. That was great. I really enjoyed watching that as like a fan of Aiden, I loved watching that, and I think he liked my video as well. I did a video on the unnecessary hate for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. That video actually did really well, so thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate all the love that the channel's been getting recently. It's been great. This is the podcast channel for the 50% Doctor Who podcast. This is where we upload the footage versions of the podcast. Today is going to be more of a story rather than a topic video. I did a topic video last time, so I thought I'd do a story today. So I'm going to take you back to the 21st of May, 2005. And not just then, I'm also going to take you back to the 28th of May, 2005. Now, I did just say that season 1 started airing in 2005. And like I said, I was there for it. My parents, mostly my dad, said you should watch this show called Doctor Who. I watched it when I was a kid. I've been saying on the podcast recently that Tom Baker was my mum's doctor, and John Pertwee was my dad's doctor. So, and my dad was definitely more of a fan than my mum was. My mum had seen it, but she grew up in a bit of a stricter house, so she couldn't really watch it all the time. But my dad used to watch it all the time, and we used to tell him about the Daleks and the Cybermen and how it used to terrify him as a child. And you're a kid, you're rebellious. Even about 7 or 8, one of those. And I started watching Doctor Who and I fell in love with it instantly. It instantly became my favourite show. It's been my favourite show forever. Always has, always will be. And I'm not going to lie, I was struggling a little bit to watch it just because some of the things in it I found quite scary because I was young. But I still tune in every single week. I remember just being there instantly, like just sat down there, just eyes glued to the screen. And I was doing fine until this episode aired. The Empty Child, and then the week after, The Doctor Dances. And this episode has people walking around with gas masks on. There's the main little boy, Jamie, who walks around with a gas mask on. If you get touched, you get infected. And then you got a couple of hours, and then you start to grow a gas mask for your face. Now, I remember watching this as a child and being so intrigued by it. Like, the episode really looked like, when I saw the next one try, it really stood out for me, and I was like, I'm really going to enjoy this. But it just looked scary instantly, and just hearing Jamie say mummy all the time, and not even just him, like, it's the infection that like infects everybody, and it's like they become the child as well saying mummy.
I don't know.
And it's nightmare fuel. Let's be completely real here. I'm a 23-year-old man saying this. It still does actually scare me. There's some scenes in it, particularly the scene with the doctor, not our doctor, not Christopher Eccleston, the actual doctor in the hospital, when he converts into a gas mask zombie. I think that's like the unofficial name for them, but that's what I used to call them when I was growing up. It's terrifying. And it happens again like 2 more times in the second part where you get to see people convert into them. And it's fucking terrifying. This was a weird part with Doctor Who where they were doing season 1 and like you could tell they didn't know how many kids were going to watch it, how many adults were going to watch it. And Doctor Who's always been watched by kids and adults, so I feel like they do a pretty good job at like, balancing scary and fun and all that kind of thing. But season 1 was a weird purgatory era. I feel like they didn't know what they were doing. So like, okay, we'll do probably a really scary episode and see how it goes down. Which I thought was great. Despite how much it scared me, this is my favorite episode ever. Like, it literally is my favorite episode. But I watched this, like I said, like when I was like 7 or 8 or something. And I reckon until I was about 13, I would have probably every week dreams that I was being stalked by this little boy, Jamie. Or if it wasn't him, it was other people who had the gas masks on. And gas masks are fucking terrifying. It kind of reminds me, the story kind of reminds me about how like you can't really go in the ocean. I mean, I'm in Australia, I can't go in the ocean without thinking about Steven Spielberg's Jaws. So for me, it's like I can't look at a gas mask without thinking about this episode and the gas mask zombies. But I literally would have dreams, and I used to be so fucking terrified about getting touched. Like in my dreams, I just wouldn't want to be touched because I didn't want to become like them. And I would literally, in my dreams, be in a corner, and little Jamie would be coming after, trying to stick his hands at me. And sometimes I'd wake up before, and sometimes I get touched. And when I got touched, it was just like, I was like, well, I'm dead. I'm gonna die. And I think this is something really cool about Doctor Who, in the sense that, like, Doctor Who has always scared kids. Like, the fact that my dad used to get terrified about stuff, and then I watched it and got terrified, as much as it did scare me, I loved it. And it was the scary episodes that always intrigued me more. And as I got older, I wish Doctor Who would be more scary. And I feel like, you know what, if I was a kid watching, like, later seasons, like 7 and 8 or something like that, you know, I probably would be scared, because obviously you get older and you find things that's scary. But I still think it's never been as scary as it was when we were kids, when we were watching stuff like The Empty Child. And I know people would say stuff like Blink is probably the scariest, or Midnight, and those are really great contenders. But I do think this is just like an episode that really does chill you to the bone. I feel like Moffat as a writer, it's crazy because, like, RTD is my favorite writer for New Who, and you know, season 1 to 4, like RTD's era, is like my favorite by far. I think it's just, you know, it's my childhood. It's like, I can't explain how much it means to me. But I feel like Moffat always wrote the episodes for me that were always like standouts. Empty Child, Doctor Dances, Girl in the Fireplace, Blink. I'm not a huge fan on the Library two-parter, but, you know, when he became head showrunner, it was like the perfect choice. And it's crazy to me that, again, I love RTD and he's my favorite writer for Doctor Who. It's crazy that he did the episodes that stood out the most for me. And I think it's because they were all really kind of scary and eerie. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of you would say Blink. And again, that's fucking Stephen Moffat. Like, you know, the guy is fantastic. Moffat is like a guy who did like Scare a Generation, I feel like. There's episodes of his that get brought up all the time for being the scariest. And I feel like Russell wasn't going necessarily for like the fear factor, like the scary factor all the time. But I feel like Moffat was just the guy to bring in just to scare the heebie-jeebies out of you. There's this really good Oxford interview that he did a couple months ago, where basically someone asked him about, you know, why does he write scary episodes, I think. And I'll find the clip, I'll put it here.
Children rate Doctor Who, and I was a child watching Doctor Who, on whether or not it is scary. Right? They say if it wasn't scary, it wasn't any good. Right? If it managed to last through the entire episode and not hide behind something, that's a bad episode of Doctor Who. Doctor Who has as its sacred intent terrifying children who can't cope with that level of fear. It's supposed to terrify kids, and they like that. And the other thing is, kids have nightmares about monsters anyway. What Doctor Who adds is the hero who fights monsters without ever becoming one. It adds to their dreams. It doesn't change them.
Like that is, I totally agree with that. Like that's exactly how I feel about Doctor Who. I feel like it's something I want to show my kids. Not that I want to be woken up at 3 a.m. every night because they're scared they're going to get touched by little Jamie. But more because, like, this is like, it's the stuff that you remember, the stuff that scared you. You do have like a weird, nice, nostalgic feeling for it, even though it scared the fuck out of you. But please let me know what you think is the scariest Doctor Who episode, because I'm genuinely interested. I wonder if a lot of people agree with me, because I feel like it is, like, this episode is like an episode that really did scare a generation. Like, I would meet multiple people who were terrified of this episode. Like, I would show my friends this episode, because I thought the way to show people that Doctor Who was cool was to show them the scariest episode. And they used to go home terrified, and literally their parents would call my mum and say, can you get Connor to stop showing them Doctor Who episodes because they're terrified and can't sleep. It would just always go down like that. Like, it is just a fucking spooky, bone-chilling episode. But if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear what you think is the scariest episode. I think we want to hear a lot about Blink and maybe Midnight and maybe some Vashna Riders and stuff. There's heaps. Like, Doctor Who is scary and has scary villains, but you know, I do think this takes the crown. But yeah, Doctor Who should be scary. It's for kids to watch and get terrified about, just like we did when we were growing up. So, you know, I hope when my kids eventually watch it, it still is scary, and I hope it's still on air. I don't see why it won't be, but I hope it is. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I feel like I was gonna do these videos a little more regularly, but my last video I put out, I did say in that video that I'm gonna do it every like couple of weeks and just kind of throw it together. But I think it's because my first video I put out on the podcast channel, I wanted it to look really good, so I took a lot more time of it than I thought. With this one, there's gonna be a lot less edits and a lot less like pictures and stuff. But I still want to make them good for you guys. I still want to make them presentable. That's the whole idea of it. But like I said, this is the podcast channel. You can tune in here every Monday for new episodes. We are doing classic episodes at the moment, but that's only for a couple more weeks. And then we're going to hit the 50th anniversary special, Matt Smith's last episode, The Time of the Doctor. And then we're on to Season 8 with Peter Capaldi's season. And yeah, it's week by week, so please come in and tune in with us. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Connor. Excuse this blankness back here. I'm redoing my room, so I will have a proper setup soon for videos like this and for some other stuff that I work on, which isn't on this channel. But thank you, everybody. You can follow us at 50Doctor on Twitter and Instagram. Send us questions, send us your reviews. We love to hear from you, and we love every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye. Do I get up and walk away? I feel like I walked in, and in the last video I did, I walked off. I'm just going to sit here. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. This is what I'm doing with my life at the moment as a 23-year-old. Oh boy.